I'm Emma Hewlett from Kilrane Gardens. I'm the chairperson of the Wexford Garden Trail, and I'm going to be interviewing the members of the Garden Trail to find out a little bit about their businesses and their gardens, their garden centres and their parks. It's great to have Micheál Delaney with us today from the Rosslare Harbour Village Park and Gardens. And Micheál is with us to enlighten us how is it that this community garden has evolved and become the success that it is today?
Well, Emma, it's nice to be here. Rosslare Harbour Village Park and Gardens has developed over about 150 years. 150 years ago, and my grandfather, when he was born, it was just there was cattle roaming the fields. So, in other words, there was no urban area, no houses, no nothing. And when Rosslare Harbour started to develop because of shipping and because of the railways, a community had to be housed in the area. So the forerunners of what was CIE, the Rosslare Harbour and Fishguard Railways Company, were the people behind it. They developed this new village, and the village consisted of a housing estate and a couple of ancillary houses for the managers of the goings on down on the pier, if you like, right? So we had a village green. We had around the village residence area, we had a plantation of Scots pines, which was growing to, I suppose, to stop the westerly winds. And then we also had a village dump. So that was the area that we're talking about that is now the Village Park and Gardens.
Okay, and tell me, how did you start to get involved with this? Because you've been involved with this from the instigation of it being a community-led experience.
Right. In 1968, there was the Viscount disaster, the Airlings Viscount disaster, where 61 people were killed off Tusker Rock. And Rosslare Harbour was central to the recovery mission there. And unfortunately, there was no recognition for what had happened. There wasn't even a marker in Rosslare Harbour to remember what happened back then in 1968. As well as that, Tusker Rock, when it was being built in the very early 1800s, there was 10 people had been drowned in the construction of that in one night when a storm took over and just washed them away. We also lost some people on Tusker during World War II, and a lot of our people were involved with the RNLI, and we wanted to remember those. So in 2005, the Rosslare Harbour Kilrane Environment Group were formed, and we started to convert the garden into a remembrance memorial garden.
With what you've explained to us so far, it's a fantastic example of real community coming together, isn't it? How many volunteers and community members are involved with keeping the gardens as they are?
Well, our own group, there's about 15 people who turn out every Saturday morning, hail, rain or snow, all year round. And during the summer then, from May onwards, we'll be going out on a Wednesday evening as well. So there's a lot of voluntary work put in there on a Saturday morning and on a Wednesday evening. As well as that, there are community people who put their time in their own time, so they can go down there any time during the week. The ICA, for instance, the Irish Country Women's Association, they have taken a portion of the garden and they've put in a small little garden for themselves and in memory of their people who have departed. The men's shed are very much involved, and so they put in things like fairy villages and hobbit houses and fairy walks, and they put in the seating, and so they're very helpful. So we all work in collaboration with one another.
When I was with you, you were just starting on creating the Biodiversity Pond. Tell me, how is that going?
Well, we're very lucky in that, first of all, we had a space down in the end of the landfill garden, and it was a natural wetland area. So that therefore we would knew that there was always going to be a supply of water into it. So it was a natural area for us to put a pond. In the winter, we would see a lot of water down there. It became a waterlogged area, but it really needed to be developed, and we needed to increase the walking trail around it so that people could really take in the amount of biodiversity that actually is in the area. So we approached Wexford local development, and they very kindly came down, had a look at our submission, and they gave us a grant towards it. So between that grant, which was the major part of it, and then local voluntary subscriptions and donations toward it, we had a GoFundMe page created on our website, and that's how we funded it. So we brought in the contractors, and they prepared the earthworks, and we put in the membrane to maintain the water, and it naturally filled in the winter with springs that are there, and it's just ideal. Water comes in, fills up, and water goes out at the appropriate level.
Hmm.
So there is no maintenance of it from that point of view, from the water point of view. From the point of view of planting it up, we planted it with proper oxygenators in the water. We have we put in the marginal planting around the sides of it, and it is all beginning to fuse nicely now into what looks like a very natural diverse area.
It really rounds the circle because I certainly felt that as I walked down through the garden and the various different areas, anyone who visits the Rosslare Harbour Village Park and Gardens is incredibly lucky to have that space. And I think that the energy of the goodness that the volunteers have in their hearts to be there and to be giving of their time voluntarily really adds to the space. And certainly, Mihal, you have been so involved from day one. And it's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's nice to have being part of the development of something that improves your area, and that's really what we want to do. We want to make it a nice space for our own community. We want to make it a nice space for our visitors. And right now, I suppose, we've had some problems with our hotels, um, but is getting resolved. That will be resolved. It will come back, and we will have a very fine area. The good thing about it is that every year we're in the Tidy Towns Awards, and every year we are improving and improving. And someday you'd never know, we might even get there. But it's the journey is there, and we're doing it, and we're enjoying it.
Well, it's been really so lovely to be chatting with you today. And as I say, we're honoured to have you as part of the Wexford Garden Trail, and we wish you the very very best of luck for this year and going forwards. Thank you so much, Mihal.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you.